Hi, I'm James, and recently I reviewed issue 1 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer. So I've now got issue 2, and we're going to have a look what we get with that one. So let's start by opening it up. Didn't even cut it then. There's been an easier way of doing all of this, but so let's start with the actual magazine. As usual, it's 2-hole punched, so it's designed to come apart and go into a folder. Nice enough cover of the Auric Gut Rippers. So let's have a look what we've got. We've got obviously the contents page. We've got a bit more about the mortal realms, talking about some of the different places within it. A little bit of detail about the cosmos, realm of chaos, things like that. A little bit on the Grand Alliance of Order, so it's talking about the Stormcast Eternals and their allies, basically the elves and dwarves. Grand Alliance of Destruction, and it talks about the different tribes. You've got the Ironjaws, the Gloomspire Gits and the Cruel Boys. We've got an insert. Yeah, the option to order it. I'm probably not going to bother doing that, but there's a few little bits and pieces in there. So yeah, we've then got a bit on the Cruel Boys Gut Rippers. So talks about what the boss is called, the Scar Shields. Now I quite like them. They're not my usual style, but they're a throwback, aren't they? If you remember the very early Citadel figures and John Blanche's illustrations, they're straight out of that. So I suppose there's a nostalgia touch for them. Personally, I'd rather plain shields, but hey, you know, they're nice. We've got a bit there about the unit traits, so talking about them, and again a unit card. Cruel Boy names, so it talks about how to name them, basically using the dice to get 36 different ones. How to build, and we'll come and have a look at the figures in a second. They're quite useful little guides, these. They are pretty simple. Then talks about using armor saves and how that works, explaining the difference between single unit models and multiple unit models. Talks about moving, fighting, dying, it seems appropriate. So you've then got a Knight Arcanum ambushed by 3 Gut Rippers. Perhaps we'll have a quick go at this in a minute. We'll come back. What we'll do is we'll look at the figures, and then we'll come back and perhaps look at that. So it gives you the rules to play through, and that basically is what you get in issue 2. Other than, let's be honest, what everybody's buying it for. So let's open this up. There was a reason I was using this. We get a unit of 10 Aurics. They are the usual Games Workshop very distinctive look. So they seem to be the standard sprues that you can get. So quite a nice, nicely sculpted, lots and lots of detail. In my opinion, possibly a little bit too much detail, because I like simple to paint. But I'm looking at the shields. They're going to respond well to probably to a dry brush. I think they would be fine. So you get the figures. Now I've actually bought, being me, multiple copies. I've actually bought 3 because, to be honest, that's a small wargaming army which I've paid what, £18 for. Throw in a leader from last week, and for £21 I've got enough for a small game. So we've got the various figures. I'll just bring them up very quickly. Quite like that pose. That's quite a nice pose, and actually a nice realistic use of a shield as well, actually using it to stab from behind. I'll come back to the leader last of all, I think. So an advancing figure. Now the one snag you do have with these is they are monopores. There's not a lot you can do with them without sort of cutting and gluing. Now I like this one, the fact he's got an eye patch on. That's a really, really nice touch. That's quite a nicely posed figure as well. They look really nice, and some of them work really well together. The two there are fantastic. These work well together. So what else do we have? So we've got one, arms outstretched to the side a bit more with that one, a bit more of an open stance, and again ties in with the figures there. That one a much more closed stance, got the spear held low, so again ties in nicely into that line. We've got another advancing figure looking sort of slightly off to one side that time. That's quite nice. Another one there, a bit more, actually could fit in with either group, I think, that one. That's quite a nice little figure. And then we get the leader. Now the leader you do actually have options for. There are 2 arms and 2 heads. I've used the alternative arm for this one. I quite like the spear vertical rather than out to the side. I'm not convinced on the head, but because I've got 3, end result I will change around. I know in the background they wear the ornate helmet so they can be spotted in combat. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think what I'll do is I'll probably vary it, and there's an alternative shield as well, so I can make a few variations on that, so that's quite useful. So those are the figures you get with it. Let's actually have a quick go at the game. It's only going to take a second or two. We'll grab some dice which came with issue 1, and we'll grab the Stormcast Eternal. And basically we have a fight between 3 Cruel Boys and a Knight Arcane. So let's put these out of the way and show you how the game plays so far. I didn't bother last week because it was literally just roll dice until one side dies. So it's not that far off this time, if I'm honest. So the 3, alright, so whatever you want to call them, they start there. And the knight starts there. At the first action everybody moves forward and the Cruel Boys get to attack first. Now they get to roll 2 dice for each Gut Ripper, and there's 3 of them. They hit on a 4, 5 or 6. Ooh, that was vicious. 5 hits. Now they now can try to wound. If hit, they need 4 or more in each one to wound. So 3 hits. This has been very, very effective. But the Knight Arcanum is wearing armour, so the 4, 5 or 6 they can remove that hit. So they've removed 2 of them, so the Knight has taken 1 hit. Okay, so now the Knight attacks back. Now the Knight only gets 3 dice, but hits on 3 or more. So that was 3 hits. They need 4 or more to wound, so 2 have wounded. Now the Gut Rippers need a 5 or a 6 to armour save, so they've saved 1. So that now means both of them both sides have taken a wound. So we're back to the Cruel Boys. They get to attack, and again another really good dice roll. 5 hits, only 2 of which are effective, and the armour save doesn't save. So the Knight's now on 3 hits. I think I know which way this battle's going to go. So attack back with 2 hits. Neither takes effect. So we're back to the Cruel Boys. Okay, finally we start getting more to an average roll. 3 hits, 1 of which gets through, and the Knight saves. Knight attacks back, 1 hit. It affects. Does the armour save? No. Now because he's only got 2 hits, that's now 1 dead. So they're now attacking with 4 dice, 3 hits, 2 of which take effect. Can we save? No. So we're now up to 5 hits. I'm down to 1 hit on the Knight. So it attacks back. Oops, went off the table. Let's re-roll that one. Missed completely. Obviously put out by that attack. So they attack back, and 2 hits. 1 takes effect, and the Knight fails to save and dies. So that's how the game goes so far. I'm guessing next week we will add more into it. Does it tell me what it adds in next week? No, unfortunately it doesn't. I know we get 5 Vindicators next week, and I'm guessing that we'll probably add rules in for movement. But that is the second issue of the game. The figures are nice. Like I said, it's enough for me to create a whole army with 3 boxes of 3 packs of this. Like I say, add in a few leaders as well. I've got a gaming force for 20 quid. Let's be realistic. That's less than a box set. Value goes down a bit next time when we're going. I think it goes up to, we get the price right, £8.99 for 5 figures. Don't know if I'm going to go for that, but for the first 2 issues it's got me a nice little starter force and a leader or 2 if I do get some Stormcast Eternals. Hopefully that's been useful, and I'll probably, if I see it, I will pick up the 3rd edition and we'll have a look at it. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please click on the like button below so that I know what people like and I know what to make more of. Alternatively, if you've enjoyed it and think you'd like to see more, please click on the subscribe button. That way you get notified by YouTube whenever I bring out a new video. And you never know, there might be something in there that you hadn't considered, because I do cover a variety of things on the channel. And finally, if you have a little bit of cash going, I now have a Patreon account. I'm always looking for patrons, because at the end of the day, let's be perfectly honest, it's a good way for me to get a little bit of money that will use to buy review items or to travel to museums and so on. I don't put a huge amount on that. At the minute, all we've got is 1 tier charging £1 a month, which just, as I said, helps cover my costs. See you soon.